Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Facebook Live. Yesterday on the On the Money show, I talked about, are people on track to retire? Are you really on track to retire? And we get these questions pretty consistently when we meet with a new client is, am I okay? Am I on track? And how do I stack up with everybody else? You know, if I pose the same questions to you, would you know the answers? Are you on track to retire? And could you retire today if you wanted to? Because if you can't answer the questions I'm going to cover with you today, maybe you're not on track to retire. You know, TIAA-CREF did a lifetime income survey, and fewer than half of Americans know how much they have saved for retirement. Only 35% know how much monthly income their savings will generate, and 54% are leaving the workforce behind before age 65. So a couple statistics that are really kind of frightening, if you will. How to assess your retirement readiness. There's a couple things you got to do. Number one, tally up your current savings. Know how much you have saved for retirement, what you have put away. If you haven't saved anything at all, start by determining the best place to allocate some of your income for retirement. A 2015 report from Financial Engines found that in 2014, employees who didn't chip in enough to get the company match missed out on an average of $1,336 in added savings. That's money you really can't afford to lose each year if you're already behind on the savings path. So at least max out company contributions. Be realistic about your retirement goal. What is the number? What are you trying to live on a month? It's based on several factors: your age, your current savings rate, the age at which you plan to retire, how much you've saved already, the type of lifestyle you want to maintain in retirement. Once you know where you're at and where you want to get to, look for opportunities to fill those gaps. But really, I think the gist of our program yesterday was 12 questions to answer before you retire. Number one, are you ready to retire? One, the time is right. The three good reasons to retire. The time is right. Two, you have more compelling things to do. And three, your job is changing. Three good reasons not to retire. Number one, your work is your identity. Number two, you will miss the people you work with. And three, you want to stay in the loop. That's the first question you got to ask yourself. Two, can you afford to retire? A lot of people feel that they want to retire, but they may not be able to afford to. And one of the key questions to answer about whether you can afford to retire is a simple one. Will your income be greater than your expenses? I mean, there's more to it than that, that's basically the essence. Third question is, when should you apply for Social Security? It depends on a lot of factors: health, life expectancy, whether you plan on working in retirement, but you've really got to nail down that Social Security question. If you have a pension, the next question is, how are you going to take your pension? Are you going to take the lump sum or monthly payments based on a single life or a joint and survivor basis? Fifth question, what should you do with the money in your company retirement plan? Again, a lot of plans let you keep it there, some allow you to roll it out. What are you going to do with it? Next question, when do you have to take money out of your IRA? You got to be on top of this. Don't have a bad case of brain sprain. Work with an advisor, make sure you're handling that adjustment. How should you invest during retirement? Risk. The big question there is risk. Strike a balance between investing for growth and investing for safety. You don't want to retire and get caught up in a tech bubble like a lot of people did back in 2000. Big question, what are you going to do about health insurance? This keeps a lot of people working to age 65 to get to that Medicare. Obviously, if you want to go before 65, you've got to have a plan for health insurance. What should you do to prepare for an illness that requires long-term care? This is probably the biggest monkey wrench that we see in people's retirement plan. They don't have any plan for long-term care. Where do you want to live after you retire? Are you going to stay in the same area because of your children and grandchildren, or are you going to move to a beach or maybe even a healthcare facility? How should you arrange your estate to save on taxes and avoid probate? Again, most of the people we see have no estate plan in place. It's one of those we'll get to it types of things, and they never get around to getting to it. And the last question is, how can you age successfully? It's a matter of three things. One, exercise, particularly walking on a regular basis. Two is to diet, to eat well. And three is to retain social contacts. You need to continue to be part of a group or a club to be in touch with people. You don't want to be a recluse. It's extremely important to be in touch with people. You have another edition of Facebook Live.